Have you ever achieved something? Maybe a new job, good grades, or even a creative win, and instead of feeling proud, you whispered to yourself, "I don't deserve this." That quiet voice, the one that says you're not good enough, that you just got lucky, isn't telling the truth. It's called imposter syndrome. And trust me, you're not the only one who's heard it. In today's world, especially for young people, that feeling of faking it has become almost universal. We scroll through perfect lives, endless achievements, flawless confidence, and somewhere deep down, we start to believe everyone else has it figured out, except us. But what if this feeling isn't a flaw? What if it's actually a sign that you care deeply, that you're growing, that you're becoming self-aware enough to question yourself? This video isn't just about imposter syndrome. It's about understanding why it happens and how a quiet indie song by Sidney Gish captured it better than most psychology books ever could. So, take a breath. We're going to explore this together, from self-doubt to self-acceptance, from overthinking to peace. So what exactly is imposter syndrome? And why does it show up even when we're doing well? In psychology, it describes a pattern where high-achieving people struggle to internalize their success. You get good results, positive feedback, maybe even recognition, but instead of feeling accomplished, your brain says, "It's just luck. They'll find out soon." It's a quiet conflict between reality and self-perception, a mental tug-of-war between who you are and who you think you're supposed to be. Even people we admire, artists, students, entrepreneurs, deal with it. In fact, studies in psychology show that more than 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of awareness. When you start growing, when you push into new spaces of personal development, your emotional intelligence starts questioning old beliefs about your worth. That's when the self-doubt sneaks in. But here's the truth. Feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you're broken. It means you care. It means you're human. And one artist captured that feeling perfectly in a song that is both funny and painfully honest. Let's talk about Sidney Gish. Sidney Gish was a college student in Boston when she wrote a small, self-produced album called No Dogs Allowed. One of the songs on it, Imposter Syndrome, wasn't a team made in a fancy studio. It was just her, a microphone, and her thoughts. But that little song ended up resonating with thousands of people who felt exactly like her. In the song, she jokes about wondering, what's a human being gotta be like? And half seriously asks if life would be easier if she were a dog. It's witty, self-aware, and brutally honest. A perfect reflection of psychology meeting humor. That's the genius of it. Instead of hiding behind perfection, Sidney Gish uses imperfection as art. Her song turns self-doubt into self-expression. And that is why it connects so deeply with our generation, the ones who live between "I want to do something great" and "I'm not sure I belong here." The truth is, the song isn't just about music. It is a mirror, one that lets us see how mental health struggles often come wrapped in humor, honesty, and quiet courage. Through her lyrics, Sidney Gish gave us permission to feel confused, insecure, and still keep going. So if you've ever felt like a fraud or doubted your own success, remember, even artists, even creators, even people you admire, have those same thoughts. So why do we feel like frauds in the first place? Why does imposter syndrome keep whispering even when we're doing well? Psychology tells us it comes from three main sources, all deeply human. First, social comparison. We live in a world of constant exposure. Every scroll shows someone else winning. Better grades, better bodies, better lives. But what you see is a highlight reel. What you compare it to is your behind the scenes. That creates a gap between reality and perception, a perfect breeding ground for imposter syndrome. Second, perfectionism. When your standards are impossible, your accomplishments never feel enough. You believe success equals flawlessness, and anything less is failure. This mindset kills growth because you start to measure worth instead of progress. It's why so many young creatives and students burn out early. Third, validation addiction. We get hooked on external approval. Every like, grade, or compliment becomes a temporary hit of confidence. When it's gone, we feel empty again. In psychology, that's a sign of low self-awareness and fragile emotional resilience. But here's the irony. These feelings don't show up because you were incompetent. They show up because you care about your work, because you have a conscience. People who reflect the most, the ones with higher emotional intelligence, often doubt themselves the most. So if you've ever felt like a fraud, remember, that's not proof you're fake. It's proof you're human. What if this self-doubt isn't a curse? What if it's a clue? Because here's the truth. Imposter syndrome doesn't visit people who don't care. It shows up in those who want to grow, who dream of doing meaningful things, who actually reflect on who they are. In psychology, self-doubt is often a byproduct of growth. When your world expands, your old self-image takes time to catch up. That discomfort you feel, it's your mind adjusting to a bigger version of you. That's the hidden upside. Feeling like a fraud means you're operating at the edge of your comfort zone. You're doing something new, something bold, and every step beyond comfort equals growth. People with emotional intelligence use this awareness as a mirror, not a cage. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," they start asking, "What can I learn here?" That's the mindset shift, turning self-criticism into curiosity, transforming fear into focus, and that right there is self-improvement in its purest form. So next time you hear that voice saying you don't belong, don't silence it. Listen, then gently remind it, "I'm growing into who I'm becoming." So how can we turn this new awareness into real growth? Let's explore 3 simple mindset shifts that can transform self-doubt into self-trust. 1. Name it out loud. The first step of self-awareness is recognition. When that voice in your head says, "You're not good enough," don't fight it. Name it. Say, "That's my imposter brain talking again." In psychology, naming an emotion reduces its power. It moves the feeling from the emotional brain to the rational mind. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly, you see that it's just a shadow. 2. Redefine success. The second shift is about personal development. Stop defining success as perfection. Redefine it as progress. Every artist, student, or creator who feels imposter syndrome is actually someone in transition, someone growing. Perfection is a moving target. Progress is a direction. When you focus on progress, you build resilience, the capacity to keep going even when you doubt yourself. 3. Borrow confidence from past you. The third shift is simple but powerful. When you feel lost, remember the moments you overcame something you once thought you couldn't. That version of you, the one who kept going, is your proof of strength. Keep a small confidence journal. Write down 3 times you did something that scared you. When imposter syndrome returns, read it. Remind your brain, you've done hard things before, you can do this too. Each of these shifts is a small act of self-improvement. Together, they create a deep inner transformation, the moment you stop fighting your doubt and start learning from it. Because real growth doesn't mean never feeling like an imposter. It means moving forward anyway with awareness, empathy, and courage. And sometimes music reminds us of truths that words can't reach. When Sidney Gish sang, "So for now I'll write it down and play it through my headphones," she wasn't pretending to be confident. She was being honest about not having all the answers. That's the beauty of it. She didn't fight her self-doubt, she expressed it. She turned imposter syndrome into a song, and in doing so, she transformed pain into understanding. It's a reminder that self-expression is one of the most healing forms of mental health. Because when you give your emotions a voice, they stop controlling you. That's not weakness. That's emotional intelligence. So maybe you don't have to silence that imposter voice. Maybe you just need to give it a song to sing, and let it become part of your story. In the end, growth isn't about being fearless. It's about learning to walk with your doubt, to understand it, and still move forward anyway. Imposter syndrome doesn't define you. It's just one chapter in your journey of self-awareness, self-improvement, and personal development. And remember, you don't need to be perfect to be real. You just need to keep showing up. If this video helped you see yourself a little clearer, leave a like, share it with a friend who might need it, and subscribe to UpMind Journey for more stories about psychology, growth, and mental health. And hey, there's a small gift waiting for you in the description below. It's something special we made to help you continue your journey beyond this video. This is UpMind Journey, where growth feels human.